Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Curious George story time at the Curious George Cottage. Today we are going to read two stories, one Curious George and one Eric Carl, because this is a fun story for this time of the year. First story, Curious George takes a train. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. This morning, George and the man with the yellow hat were at the train station. They were taking a trip to the country with their friend, Mrs. Needleman, but first they had to get tickets. Inside the station, everyone was in a hurry. People rushed to buy newspapers to read and treats to eat. Then they rushed to catch their trains. But one little boy with a brand new toy engine was not in a hurry, nor was the small crowd next to him. They were just standing in one spot looking up. George looked up too. A trainmaster was moving numbers and letters on a big sign. Soon the trainmaster was called away, but his job did not look finished. George was curious. Could he help? George climbed up in a flash. Then, just like the trainmaster, he picked a letter off the sign and put it in a different place. Next, he took the number 9 and put it near a 2. George moved more letters and more numbers. He was glad to be such a big help. "Hey," yelled a man from below, "I can't tell when my train leaves." "What track is my train on?" asked another man. "What's that monkey doing up there?" demanded a woman. She did not sound happy. The trainmaster did not sound happy either. "Come down from there right now," he hollered at George. Poor George. It's too easy for a monkey to get into trouble. But lucky for George, it's also easy for a monkey to get out of trouble. Right then the conductor shouted, "All aboard!" A crowd of people rushed toward the train. George simply slid down a pole, scurried over a suitcase, and squeezed with the crowd through the gate. There he found the perfect hiding place for a monkey. The little boy with the toy engine also ran through the gate. "Look, Daddy," he said, "a train." His father looked up. "Come back, son," he yelled. "That's not our train." But it was too late. The gate locked behind him. The boy began to cry. George peeked out of his hiding place. He saw the boy's toy roll toward the tracks. The boy ran after it. This time George knew he could help. He leapt out of his hiding place and ran fast. George grabbed the toy engine before the little boy came too close to the tracks. What a close call. When the trainmaster opened the gate, the boy's father ran to his son. The boy was not crying now. He was playing with his new friend. "So there you are," said the trainmaster when he saw George. "You sure made a lot of trouble on the big board." "Please don't be upset with him," said the boy's father. "He saved my son." The people on the platform agreed. They had seen what happened, and they clapped and cheered. George was a hero. Just then the man with the yellow hat arrived with Mrs. Needleman. "It's time to go, George," he said. "Here comes our train." "This is our train too," the father said. The little boy was excited. "Can George ride with us?" he asked. That sounded like a good idea to everyone, so the train master asked the conductor to find them a special seat. And he did, right up in front. And this is a good book about growing because lots of things are growing right now. The tiny seed. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up, up it goes. It flies too high and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. Ice never melts, and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and drowns. The others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. One seed drifts down onto the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes it on with the others. Finally, the wind stops and the seeds fall gently down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one seed. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. Now it is winter. After their long trip, the seeds settle down. They look just as if they are going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for his lunch, but the tiny seed lies very still and the mouse does not see it. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow is melted. It is really spring. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls, the seeds grow so round and full they start to burst open a little. Now they are not seeds anymore. They are plants. First they send roots down into the earth. Then their little stems and leaves begin to grow up toward the sun and air. There is another plant that grows much faster than the new little plants. It is a big fat weed, and it takes all the sunlight and the rain away from one of the small new plants, and that little plant dies. The tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet. It will be too late. Hurry! But finally, it too starts to grow into a plant. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun in springtime. One child doesn't see the plants as he runs along. Oh, he breaks one. Now it cannot grow any longer. The tiny plant that grew from the tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7. And look, a bud, and now even a flower. But what is happening? First there are footsteps, then a shadow looms over them, then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. A boy has picked the flower to give to a friend. It is summer. Now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and on. It doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. All summer long, the birds and bees and butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. So much glory. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter, the nights grow cooler, and the wind carries yellow and red leaves past the flower. Some petals drop from the giant flower and they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. The wind blows harder. The flower has lost almost all of its petals. It sways and bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. Once more the wind shakes the flower, and this time the flower seed pod opens. Out come many tiny seeds that quickly sail far away on the wind. Thank you for joining us for story time. We look forward to seeing you again next week.